All right, if we will now turn to notes 5-3, these are the substitution notes. So here comes the new method. We're not going to be doing graphing by hand or calculator. This is that algebraic method where you can take your answer and plug it back in and it will make a true or false statement. So the first thing that you need to know, substitution is a method of solving systems by substituting equations within one another. Okay, now remember about the word substituting. This just means substitute. Ooh, forgot the T. Just means to plug in. Okay, so this again takes 3 steps. This method is going to seem like it takes a little bit more work. So bear with me. I'm not going to tell you which numbers we're doing until we get to them because I'm going to kind of skip around. So step 1, we're going to solve one equation either for x or y. We are so used to solving for y, but when you're doing substitution, you can go either way. After you solve for x or y, you're going to substitute. And remember, that just means plug in the expression to the other equation and solve for the variable, whatever letter you have left. And then you're going to, again, substitute. This is why it's called substitution. So plug in the answer you got into the revised equation from step 1 and solve for the other variable. Okay, so I kind of have a process when I do this, and it kind of organizes it. So if you want to try my process, it would maybe help you organize your work. The first thing you're going to do is make sure you have one equation in x equals or y equals. So I'm going to write that over here, x equals or y equals. It does not matter which one, but they have to be by itself. So if you look at number 1, I have y equals 4x minus 1, and I have y equals 2x minus 5. Both of these are in y equals, and it doesn't matter which equation it is, you just need one. So since the top one is in y equals, I'm going to box what it equals. And then since the y is on the outside, I'm going to move down to the bottom equation, and the box is going to replace the y, the outside letter, in the other equation. So I'm going to rewrite this as 4x minus y. So I'm plugging this in to the other y, and I'm going to keep the equals 2x minus 5. So now that I've plugged this in, step 2, I need to solve. To solve this equation, we're going to move the smaller variable. So we're going to subtract 2x. That gives me 2x minus 1 equals negative 5. And then I'm going to add the 1. That gives me 2x equals negative 4. I divide by 2, and I get x equals negative 2. Okay, once you have this answer, you take this answer and you plug it back into the box. So I have y equals 4, but instead of x, I'm going to put what x equals, and it equals negative 2, and then minus 1. Now you can just use your calculator. So 4 times negative 2 minus 1. Type that in using the parentheses, and that's going to give you 9. Now that you have your 2 answers, you write this as an ordered pair, so negative 2, 9. We're going to box it, and I'm going to teach you how you can check it really quick. I'm not going to show you the check for every problem, but just know you can do this. I'm going to show it to you on probably 2 of them. I'm going to plug in the negative 2 to x, and it should equal y, and y is 9. So we're going to do 4 times negative 2 minus 1. I should get 9, negative 9. What did I do wrong? I forgot to carry my negative sign down. That's what I did wrong. Duh, Miss Henson. So that does equal negative 9. So now I check the other one. We do 2 times negative 2 because I'm plugging in x again. And I'm going to put minus 5, and it should equal negative 9. Since it does, this is good. That is my correct answer. We're going to move to number 3. I have y equals 3x plus 9 and 3x plus 8y equals negative 5. You're looking either for x equals or y equals, and you have a y equals, so I box what it equals. The letter on the outside is y, so I replace the y in the other equation. So this is going to become 3x plus, I'm going to keep the 8. The y becomes the box, x plus 9 equals negative 5. So I kept everything but the y and replaced it with my box. Now this is just a distribute and solve. So I'm going to do 8 times x, which is 8x, 8 times 9, which is 72. I bring down 3x plus, and I bring down equals negative 5. I combine like terms, so 3 and 8 makes 11x plus 72 equals negative 5. I am going to subtract 72. That gives me 11x equals negative 77. And then I divide by 11, and that gives me x equals negative 7. Okay, once I have what x equals, I come back to the boxed equation. So this is y equals, instead of x, I'm going to put negative 7 plus 9. Well, negative 7 plus 9 is 2. So I write my answer as an order pair, negative 7, 2. And remember, you always put x first. Now I'm going to show you one more time how you can check this. For the top equation, I'm going to plug negative 7 in. And we're going to do negative 7 plus 9. And I should get y, which is 2. And I did get 2. Well, now you have to check the other equation. So we're just going to plug it in. We're going to do 3 parentheses. X was negative 7 plus 8 parentheses. Y was 2. And when I hit equals, I should get negative 5, which I did. So that is the correct answer. Okay, we're going to go ahead and flip to the back now. And we're going to do 4 more together. We're going to do number 5. Okay, for number 5, you have 2x plus y equals negative 2 and 5x plus 3y equals negative 8. This one does not have an x equals or a y equals. So to get this to an x equals or a y equals, you find an equation where you don't have a coefficient with a letter. And remember, a coefficient's a number. So I'm going to look at this top equation. I'm going to rewrite it down here. 2x plus y equals negative 2. This does not have a number with it. So I want to get this y by itself. To get y by itself, I'm going to minus the 2x, and that gives me y equals negative 2x minus 2. So now that y is by itself, I box what it equals, and I'm going to replace the other equation's y, because that's the letter on the outside, with this box. So it becomes 5x plus 3, open parentheses, negative 2x minus 2, plug in that box, and it equals negative 8. This is a distribute and solve, so 3 times negative 2 would be negative 6x. 3 times negative 2 would be negative 6. I bring down 5x plus, and it equals negative 8. Combine like terms, this gives me a negative 1x minus 6 equals negative 8. I add the 6. That gives me negative 1x equals negative 2, and then I divide by negative 1, so x equals 2. Once I have that x equals 2, I plug it back into the revised, the boxed equation. So we're going to do y equals negative 2, but instead of x, we're going to plug a 2 in its spot and then minus 2. So you may type that in your calculator or do the math mentally. You got negative 2 times 2. It gives me negative 4 minus 2 would be negative 6. So my order pair would be 2, negative 6. I'm going to box it. Now remember, you can check it. I'm going to show the check one more time, and then the other 3 are on your own. So you have to take whatever your order pair is. My order pair is 2, negative 6. I'm going to take 2, and instead of doing x, I do 2, because that's what x is, plus, and then y is negative 6. So if you notice, I'm plugging in x and y with parentheses. When I hit enter, I should get whatever it equals, and it does equal negative 2. You have to check the other one, so we're going to do 5 parentheses, and x was 2, plus 3 parentheses, and y was negative 6, and you should get negative 8, which you did. So this does check. That is your answer. Okay, we're going to move to number 7. For number 7, again, you do not have an equation in y equals or x equals, but you have an x without a number here. So I'm going to pull this x plus 5y equals 4 down. I'm going to subtract the 5y, and I get x equals negative 5y plus 4. Now, I know that felt really weird solving for x equals, but that's the letter that's by itself, so that's what we got to do. We're going to box that, and into the other equation, we're going to replace x this time because the x is on the outside of the box. So this becomes 3 open parentheses, negative 5y plus 4 close parentheses, and then I keep the rest of the problem. Plus 15y equals negative 1. Now I just need to distribute and solve for my problem. 3 times negative 5y is a negative 15y. 3 times 4 is a 12. I bring down plus 15y equals negative 1. I'm going to combine like terms, so my 15 and my negative 15. Those cancel each other. If they're the same number but opposite signs, they cancel. So now I have 12 equals negative 1. Since you do not have a letter, this problem is done. That's not your answer. You have to read this. Does 12 equal negative 1? No. So this is a false statement. A false statement means you have parallel lines. If you were graphing this. We're not going to graph it. So since the lines are parallel, your answer is no solution, or you can do the symbol. Either would work. So you can only have no solution if you run out of letters and it does not make a true statement. Okay, we're going to move to number 9. I have 6x plus 3y equals 54, and I have 2x plus y equals 18. Y is the letter by itself, but it's not in y equals. So in order to get it to y equals, I minus that 2x. That gives me y equals negative 2x plus 18. And I'm going to box this. Since y is the letter on the outside, we are now going to replace the y in the top equation since I didn't change the top one. So this becomes 6x plus 3. Open up your parentheses to plug the box in of negative 2x plus 18. Close your parentheses and it equals 54. Now we're just distributing and solving. So 3 times negative 2x is negative 6x, and 3 times 18 is a positive 54. I bring down the 6x at the beginning and the equals 54. I combine like terms, so I put my x's together. Since they are the same number in opposite signs, they cancel. So I have 54 equals 54. Since I don't have any letters, you read this, 54 equal 54. Well, that is a true statement. If it is a true statement, that means you have the same line. And if it's the same line, your solution is infinite many solutions. That means they touch at every single point possible. We're going to do one more example together, and then that leaves you having to try, I believe, 5 on your own. We're going to do number 11. Excuse me. I have 3x minus y equals negative 8, and 5x plus 2y equals 5. Well, y is the letter by itself, so I'm going to pull it down, and since it's not in y equals, I need to solve for it. We're going to move the x by changing the sign, and that leaves me with a negative 1y equals negative 3x minus 8. And then I have to divide by the number in front of y. So that gives me y equals 3x plus 8. I'm going to box that, and we're going to replace the bottom equation because that's the one we didn't change, and we're going to replace the y because y is on the outside. So we're going to do 5x plus 2, open parentheses, 3x plus 8, close parentheses, equals 5. Distribute, so 2 times 3x is 6x, and 2 times 8 is 16. Bring down the 5x plus, and bring down the equals 5. Now we're going to combine like terms, so 5 and 6 make an 11x plus 16 equals 5. We're going to minus 16. That gives me 11x equals negative 11. We're going to divide by 11, and that gives me x equals negative 1. We're going to take this -1 and plug it back into the boxed equation. So we're going to do y equals 3, but instead of x, we put -1 plus 8. Well, 3 times -1 is -3, and -3 plus 8 would be 5. So my answer would be order pair, so -1, 5. Remember, you can plug that in to check it, and you're going to solve the other 5 problems. And if you have questions, just let me know.